What if I told you that men are lying to you when they say they want peace? What if I also told you that the more you stress him out, the more desirable you'll be to him? If that sounds strange to you, don't worry. On today's show, we're going to be discussing why men fall in love when you stress them. That way, you can understand the strategy of how do you stress to make the men in your dating life obsessed with you. Let's discuss why anxiety is such a good thing. The guys that you're going to be dating are actively going to be giving you advice, okay, on how you should approach them, how you should date them, how you should love them. But it's actually going to be the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing if you want the right response from him. Now, of course, men aren't going to come out and tell you, hey, I want you to stress me out, because if you want me to like you, that's what's going to get you that type of response where I'm really crazily obsessed over you and I really want to be with you and I want to spend every second of my day with you. So if you can stress me out and give me anxiety, that would be the best in order to elicit those feelings of desire from me. Of course, men aren't going to tell you that. And you know what your mistake is? When guys are talking to you and you're asking them, oh, hey, what do you want? What are you looking for? What do you like? What do you dislike? You take a lot of what they say literally thinking, oh, well, the guys say they want this and they say they want that. So if I give them this and I give them that, then they should respond to me positively. Guys are going to tell you when they're dating you, I'm looking for peace, strictly peace. I want everything to be easy. I don't want to work for it. I don't want us to be I don't want to be too stressed out. I already got a stressful job. I don't need my relationship to be stressful. I just want peace. I want quiet. And you hear that and you start taking it literally. So you think, oh, all these guys are all saying the same thing. They all want peace. They all want me to be quiet. Now, in this case, on these two sides of the table here, anxiety and peace, we're going to be discussing what it's like for a guy to go out on a date with you. An anxiety version of a date and a peaceful version of a date for a guy, okay? And I want us to break this down. So let's say for this anxiety date here, man in Anxietyville is going to be going on a date with his dream woman. So let's kind of think to ourselves what the mind frame, the mind state, and all the things that this guy is going to go through going on a date with his dream woman, right? So I can't mess this up. Put my best foot forward. Why? This is my dream woman. And this is my opportunity to go on a date with my dream woman. If I don't seize this opportunity or do it right, I might never get an opportunity like this again, right? So this is another one of the things that he's going to be thinking of. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so because of that, he's going to have a lot of anxiety, all of these things going through his mind, right? Because he's going to want to be good for the date. He's going to want to make sure everything is taken care of for the date. And it's going to be a lot of stress and anxiety. Now, let's look at guy number 2, who is in Peaceville, okay, going on a stress-free, anxiety-free date, okay? Guy number 2 is going on a date with a random girl from Tinder. Guy number 1, who's going on this dream date, right? He's going to Nobu. And guy number 2, who's going on a regular date that, is really peaceful, he's going all the way home. So guy number 2, who has his peaceful date going, right? He's thinking to himself, this is easy. No need to worry. Let's get this done fast. So let's even kind of brainstorm what some of the things that guy number 1 might be doing that's living in anxiety world, since he's thinking like this and this is what's going through his mind. How is he going to be acting on these thoughts? Guy number 1 in Anxietyville. He's going to be going out and to the barbershop and getting a nice haircut, spending like $50 on his hair. He's going to be making sure he clips his nails because he doesn't want to have long, nasty looking nails when he's on this date. He's going to be making sure that he shaves. He might even be thinking about, okay, I want to make sure I plan and get her a gift or something special before this date to make sure that she knows I really appreciate her, get her some flowers or something that she mentioned. These are just a few of the things that a guy is going to do because of his anxiety. Guy number 2 is in peace state. He meets you on Tinder. So peaceful. He gets to lay in bed, scroll on his phone. He doesn't even have to use all his fingers, just his thumbs to tap on you, swipe on you, message you, and then get on a date with you. He gets to stay in his nut-stained boxers with his crusty sock by his bed. okay? In his dirty sheets that he never washes. Sorry, he doesn't even have sheets. There's no sheets on his bed, just the blanket over it. And he gets to lay in that bed while swiping on you and messaging you and then organizing a date with you. It's not really a date. You're just coming over to his house. But this is such a peaceful state. You're going to come to his house, so he doesn't even really have to do anything, okay? Because he's not going to leave his house. He doesn't have to plan for anything. All he's got to do is get up out of bed. You thought I was going to say he has to clean. No, he's not going to clean. He's probably just going to shove the clothes that are on his bed and on the floor into the closet, if he even does that, okay? Very peaceful. You come over, so he offers you that 1/3 of the cheap bottle of vodka still left in his house. And he's like, hey, you want us to drink some stuff? Let's drink a little bit while we, sit on the couch and watch some Netflix. You're like, sure. And he pours you a little bit of this empty, backwashed vodka that other people have been drinking at his place. Very peaceful though, right? And you guys sit there, drink, you chit chat about basically nothing. And then, he turns on Netflix, it's playing in the background, and you guys just sit there and then you get a nut-stained blanket and you put it over yourselves and you start watching the Netflix with your little bit of backwashed vodka. And this is so peaceful. So it's funny because a guy will tell you that he doesn't want anxiety, but when you think about the actions he'll take when he's in an anxious state like this, those are all things you would like to happen. And those are all things you would appreciate from a guy that you're dating. But that's not the state that your guy asked to be in his relationship. Isn't that quite strange? Scenario number 2, when the guy receives the peace that he's looking for, you don't really get anything. You don't get effort, right? You don't get him working hard for you in the relationship. You're like on the back burner. You're like the absolute last thought. The problem is when the guys that you're dating are telling you they want peace, the outcome for them is positive if you give them that. Because if you're only ever giving them peace, never asking of them anything in the relationship, and you're just willing to take the absolute bare minimum in order to be the most peaceful, well, who does that benefit? That benefits him. Point number 2, texting stress. Now, this is the mistake. This is something that you'll notice in men that you date. Whenever they want your time, they expect you to answer them instantly or as fast as you possibly can. And see, here's the thing. As a guy begins liking you more, he wants more and more of your time. So one of the things that you're going to notice is guys want you to talk to them more and text them more and call them more. And so, you know how when we talked about anxiety is good and guys will say, oh, I want peace. Peace is what I'm looking for. Another one of the things that guys are going to ask of you and tell you, they're going to say, oh, I want a girl that, can text me all the time, that can talk to me whenever, that we can, talk about anything 24/7. And they're going to encourage you to text them a lot. And they'll even say things like this. Tell me in the chat if you've ever heard a guy say this to you before that you've been talking to or in a relationship with. They'd be like, oh, I would love to be with a girl who would call me when she wants to speak to me. I would love to be with a girl who'll take the initiative of texting me when she wants to talk to me, or FaceTiming me at any time of the day when she wants to talk to me. Tell me in the chat if you've ever heard a guy say that to you. It's a trap! This is an attempt for guys to get what they want in terms of not having to stress or be anxious about you, because you are always reaching out to them. Even when it comes to texting, you do not want to make the mistake of thinking, oh, well, you're telling me I should reach out to you all the time and that you'll actually like me more if I reach out to you all the time. But in reality, when you end up reaching out to him all the time, 24/7, you only end up realizing that as you reach out to him more and more and more, what ends up happening in return? He reaches out to you less and less and less. And eventually you get to the point where you're the only one reaching out. You're the only one calling him. Now he's never reaching out to you. Now he's never calling you. And you're wondering why this is going on. But here's the thing. It's part of the fake out. And the reality that men don't fall in love with getting more peace by you reaching out to them all the time and you texting them all the time, because that's another form of peace, right? And that's what I want you to kind of get the grasp of here, in the different ways men are going to ask you for peace, but what they really actually respond to is stress. So as a guy likes you more and he wants to speak to you more and he wants to talk to you more and get to know you more, he's going to ask of you to reach out to him more, to text him more, to call him more, right? And to be available to him over the phone more. But in reality, what I want you to do, and this is where the strategy comes in, I want you to never try harder to be more available over the phone. Never. In fact, I want you to keep the pace exactly what it needs to be, which is use messaging, especially with the guys that you're dating and you're building romantic relationships with. Use it strictly for scheduling and avoid texting just to try to get to know him. No matter how much he begs you and no matter how much he tells you, oh, but it just stresses me out that you don't text me and it just stresses me out that you don't message me. And I know when guys say this to you, it starts to bubble your anxiety. Because you start to feel like, oh man, but I feel like I'm gonna lose him if I don't listen to him, because every time he's begging me to text him more and every time he's begging me to call him more, but because I'm never doing it, I feel like I'm gonna lose him, Tomisin, if I don't message him. Like he's literally begging me for it all the time. So I don't know what to do. I feel like I have to text him more. You know you don't. And in fact, if you actually continue doing what you've been doing, which is nothing, and continue staying off of that phone, yes, he will be anxious. Okay, he will be. I'll acknowledge that he will be anxious. Yes, he'll be a little bit agitated, but you have to understand within that anxiety, which is why I brought anxiety being good up first. Within that anxiety, you can actually get a lot of positive things. Even though he says that makes him anxious, what he's not telling you is it also keeps his hunger and desire for you going. What they wish would happen is that you would ease that anxiety that they feel and that frustration that they feel because they constantly have a hunger to talk to you more. Number 3, very important. Number 3 is going to be the stay forever mistake. You're going to hear him say something like this over the course of time when you guys are spending time together. I love spending time with you so much. Let's spend more time together, right? So let's extend our date. So for example, you guys might be out at a restaurant or something like that, enjoying your time. You're laughing, you're giggling, you're smiling, having a great time. And he'll be like, oh, I just feel like the 2 hours went by so fast. The 3 hours went by so fast. Let's go back to my place. You go back to his place and then he's like, oh, I just love spending so much time with you. Just why don't you, I know you're here already and we've been having some wine and we've been sipping, but why don't you stay over? And then you stay over and then you wake up the next day and he's like, oh, I just love spending time with you so much. Let's go out and do a day thing. And then you go out and do a day thing, right? And so here's the problem. This is a function of another one of the things that men are going to ask you for to ease their anxiety. Do not ever, 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 ever listen to men when they ask you to stay forever. Look in my eyes. Never. They will always ask this of you when they begin to like you more, or if they just, want to get this going really fast. Okay. And so guys are always going to be saying to you, spend more time with me. Let's turn our 2-hour date into 4 hours. Let's turn 4 hours into 6 hours. Why don't you just stay the night? Why don't you stay 2 nights? Why don't you stay 3 nights? Why don't you be here all throughout the week and basically have half of your closet here and never leave? But that only lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then he's sick of you, and then he doesn't want to hear from you anymore, or he ghosts you. There's a mistake there. When you provide that to them, they start feeling like, oh, well, now that you're always here, I no longer have the room to desire more time with you. When you stop stressing the guy out and you give him the peace that he was looking for, now, once that anxiety has gone away, the pursuit goes away. So I want you to start thinking every time there's anxiety, there's also pursuit. And anytime there's a lack of anxiety or stress, there's always a lack of pursuit, which is why sometimes you're going to make the mistake of thinking, oh, when guys ask for peace, what they don't want is stress. But in reality, men are going to be falling more in love with you when there is stress present and there is anxiety present. Because when you don't stay forever and when you cut the date short, which is what we're going to have a whole show just on how to pace relationships, right? And even pace dating. When you cut the date short and you never overstay and you never listen to what he says by staying 24/7, 365 all the time. you're only going to end up winning because in response to that, right, he's going to be anxious and he's going to feel like, damn, I would love to see her more. So what is he going to do? He's going to in turn ask you out on more dates, more often and more frequently, because 2 hours in one date for one time a week doesn't feel like enough. So what does he do? He asks you on more dates, more days of the week to see you more times. And then the pacing comes in and the strategizing comes in where you say yes to enough things to allow him to see you more, but not yes to too many things that now you're here all the time, every day, 24/7, and he can ever get sick of you, right? So it's essentially like, so I want you to imagine yourself as like candy or like dessert. Okay. And your man is like a toddler. So a toddler is always going to want more sugar, more candy, more dessert, more all the time. They're going to think they can never have enough. But the reality of it is, as an adult, you're like the adult, okay? You're the adult that understands if you give your child way too much candy and way too much sugar, they will eventually throw up, get sick, and they'll be pointing the finger at you and be upset with you that, why did you give me so much candy? My stomach hurts now. And so you have to be thinking of the child before the child can even think for themselves. Might be what you're asking for, but this isn't necessarily what you need. Yes, you love dessert and you love cake and you love ice cream and you love chocolate, but I'm only going to give you that in sparing amounts. You can have a little bit of that. You enjoy your little chocolate, your little piece of cake. And tomorrow, after you eat your vegetables, you get another little small piece of cake and another little treat. But I'm not going to give you the whole box of cookies. I'm not going to give you the whole box of chocolate. I'm not going to give you the whole tub of ice cream, even though you beg me for that. Number 4 is the availability paradox. Guys will ask you to be more available to them when they need you or want you there. However, when you actually become more available to them whenever they need or want you there, they only end up not caring about you enough to think of you or plan with you, seeing you more often, or actually like organizing a day with you. So let me break that down a little bit more for you. You start thinking to yourself, right, when he describes to you, I really want a girl who will drop everything for me. I just want to ride or die, that no matter what I'm going through, no matter where I'm at in life, I can always rely on her to call her or text her or message her, no matter what time of day or night, and she'll pick up the phone. Because that's true loyalty to me. That's when I know that this person is my soulmate and my ride or die, that she'll pick up that phone at any time of the night. You're a ride or die, aren't you? Baby, you a ride or die, ain't you? The moment you listen to that and you're like, oh, sounds like my favorite teen drama. Sounds like everything I've ever watched on Disney Channel. Sounds like what I was watching on Nickelodeon and in my favorite movies and on The Notebook. So maybe if I'm available to you at all times of the night, I'll be able to prove to you that I'm so loyal and such a ride or die that you can rely on me for anything. So then you know what happens. Instead of him using that and actually, building with you and taking care of your relationship, you know what he does when he realizes you actually are taking that to heart? He then goes out to the club. It's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. I ain't got ain't got me. And it's funny because he's dancing to that song while he's chugging a bottle of 1942 in the booth with his boys, right? And he's grinding on a girl. Oh yeah, 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. Rihanna's playing work, 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 work. You see me having work. He's going like this. He's leaning back on the chair. His boy's holding him up, right? As he's catching the twerk. You know what I mean? His boy's holding him up. He's like, damn, I didn't know she had it like this, boy. And then you know what? After that, right? After he finishes chugging that 1942, okay, he steps out of that club, right? Plaster, right? His one eye is going this way, one eye is going the other way. And he calls you up and he said, oh, I need to see you right now, shorty. What you saying? I just finished at a club and I'm trying to pull up on you. What you saying? Like, yeah, you sleep? Yo, why you playing with me like that? Yo, you ain't sleep. Yo, get your ass up, girl. What you say? You sleep. I'm trying to pull up on you right now. What you saying? He only ends up talking to you whenever he needs you. Okay. And when I say needs you, I just mean in that moment where he wants to speak to you, that's when he ends up reaching out to you. But he doesn't end up calling you that same way on a Tuesday afternoon to say, hey, I would love to see you later this week. Can we plan a dinner date or something? When are you free? And it's funny because the reason I call it the availability paradox is because the more available you are to that guy, the less he actually takes your availability seriously. And so you end up getting put on the back burner simply for prioritizing him and dropping everything for him. So as you become more available, you actually simultaneously become less of a priority. Because when he realizes that I can't call her up at 4 a.m. on a Saturday night after I finish at the club and she'll answer and I'll pull up on her, he realizes that the only way to get access to you is to actually plan or schedule his time with you and message you or call you during the day, during actual hours, not demon time. All right. And the fact that he realizes you're not going to be available to him whenever he just wants to call you and expect you to pick up, he actually then in turn prioritizes the fact that, hey, I got to make sure that if I want to see her, that I'm putting my best foot forward in order to be able to see her. That the fact that she's not going to be available all the time actually means that I'm going to have to prioritize her higher on my list in order to get access to her. Even aside from the guys who are just readily trying to play you and trick you and deceive you and all that stuff, even when guys like you, they will ask of you these things, and you'll be thinking, when you're asking me this and you like me and you want me and I want you to like me and I want our relationship to go well, you're thinking, okay, so then I should just do that. And when I do that, you'll like me more. But when you do that, he ends up liking you less. What I want you to take from the show is that guys are always going to be, when they're dating you, asking you for peace in a way that serves him, where he can receive without having to give as much. That is good, which is exactly why he'll ask you for that and say he would like that. Right? And he'll even wrap that in the idea and the concept of, oh, when I receive that from you, I'll like you more for receiving that because that's what I want. Why? Because that's what benefits me. But what I want you to understand is never to listen to when men are asking you to do that. Never. And number 5 is that yes means less. Another one of the things that guys in a holistic concept are going to try to convince you of, right? In terms of getting peace, saying yes is the best thing you can do because it's the most peaceful when you're the most agreeable. You're just like one of the guys where we can just chill. Okay, have you ever heard a guy say that? I wish I had a girlfriend that was like one of the guys because I like to just be able to chill. Me and the guys, we don't really have to talk about too much. We can just sit there and relax and chill and not have to worry. We can just watch the game and just be quiet. We can just, toss around a football, just be quiet. We can just play video games and just be quiet. Yo, peace is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a girlfriend and a wife that's like one of the boys, where it's all just peace and relaxation, and I don't ever have to be anxious or worried about or stressed out about anything. When you tell guys no, and they have real interest in you, what ends up happening is they think, okay, well, now let me put my best foot forward with you in our relationship so that I can turn that no into a yes. And so that is why this point is titled, Yes Ends Up Meaning Less. Because when you say yes to everything, he doesn't end up taking you seriously or thinking that he needs to put his best foot forward in the relationship. Like I always tell you guys, what you're seeking in your relationships with men is emotional investment. You want the guys that you're dating to be highly emotionally invested in you. Some people talk about all different types of investment. The investment I focus on is emotional and spiritual. And as guys are doing more for you, right? Doing more tasks for you, committing themselves to you, being consistent to you, showing up for you, doing things for you, right? All of those things, that is emotional and spiritual investment into another human being. And that is exactly what you're looking for out of any guy that you're going to be dating. So when it comes to saying yes, you can't be of the mindset that, hey, if I say yes to everything, it's going to make me so peaceful and easy to get along with and so likable that then he'll want me more. Because when you say yes to everything, he'll start thinking in his mind, well, yeah, there's less stress here, but I also don't need to do that much in order to keep her happy. I also don't need to put my best foot forward in order to do good in this relationship. I should relax and be in a state where I have to do nothing and I can just give her the absolute bare minimum and continue to expect her to like me and treat me like a prince and do all these things for me, okay? And in reality, when guys have the anxiety of, oh, she said no, what do I have to do now? Or, oh, she said no, I still got to put my best foot forward. Or, oh, she, is not happy, so what do I have to do to solve this? That anxious state, that frustration state, that not peaceful state that the guys are referring to actually yields you the result you're looking for, where you actually get guys who will step up to the plate for you and try better, try harder, and put their best foot forward in the relationship.